Caner Universe, it's Caner Tip Tuesday. Today we're looking at how and why less is actually more when it comes to cane self-defense. But before we do that, a big cane bump to those of you who are here for the first time. Welcome from sunny Miami, Florida, and faithful followers of the Cane Fist Way as well to you. Thank you so much for joining us here. Do this straight off the bat, or straight off the cane, so to speak, so that you don't forget. There's two things. Well, number one, obviously, if you like the content, hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you don't miss any future content. But we have two no-cost resources. The first one is the no-cost cane clarity call. In less than 24 hours, my staff and I will be on the phone with you, learning how it is that we can serve you best. What is it about the cane that attracts you? All right, is it better movement? Is it self-protection? Whatever it is, we're going to give you a blueprint as to how you can make this real for you. More importantly, how do you get cane trained when you don't have a physical instructor wherever it is that you reside? That's number one. And number two, look in the description. We have a no-cost Facebook group for Cane Flow, which is this series that we're covering here. Move better, protect better, live better. Just go ahead and request entry and they will let you in. So the concept, it's very common. Hey, you train more, you do more with that cane. We're all in favor of increasing your power, your speed and accuracy, but even the way you go about that training, as well as your applications. There is a principle with ACSD that says that less is more, and so I'm going to demonstrate some of that. I'm going to give you three. I'm going to show you it in action in three different areas, but stick around to the end, because the fourth one I'm going to share with you that's really what you want to focus in on, because it'll guarantee better results throughout your longevity as a caner. And so the first one here that we're looking at is less is more, technically, in the way that you do your striking. So understand that under the duress of the moment, when the adrenaline is pumping, if you're not, a trained individual picks up that cane and, looks to do this where you're staying open and you're coming with shots that assailant can go ahead and see from a mile away. It's just like the untrained fighter. You're all pumped up and you're leaving yourself open. And when you do that, especially if that individual, you hear me say it over and over and over, just assume he's bigger, stronger, faster. You got to move in here. He puts his hands up and he's ready to go ahead. And maybe he's not going to anchor you in that way, but your movements, you're telegraphing your movements. Make them smaller. Tighten your guard zone. Work on getting it to the point where just from a passive ready stance, somebody asked me, how do you get into that passive ready stance, without looking intimidating? Well, speak with my hands. I'm talking with my hands the whole time. So the cane comes from here to here, but then I know you're not padded, but get good with your power shot, short in your tight in your guard zone, so that you're not even this, because even that he can move in on. Right? And where you're striking, when he moves in here, even if I get my full extension, that's not going to do anything. I know anatomically, boom, it's there. It's down here, right? So tighten up your power shot game. That's number one. Number two is also to economize with your strategy. Less is more. It's very common, you'll see this a lot, right? So he throws a strike, or maybe he's coming, and you do this to now do something like this and then come in here. That's multiple movements. I'm telling you that you're doing too many things. He's coming in here again to that, and now I'm good. Oh boy, this is not good. This is not good. So here's one for you. Your power shot serves as both offensive. It's both offensive and defensive. Start knocking them down. And again, I'm trying not to make a lot of heavy contact here, because even though I'm using a drone, but I'm dealing here. Pop. That you're knocking that down. How about maximizing the length of the reach advantage of the cane? See, he has to extend just a fist from here to there. He's going to have to step in to make actual contact. He needs to step in. Go back to where we were. Right. So rather than doing this kind of thing where I'm going to come up here, or I'm going to do any type of deflection or block, Stop thinking block first and then strike. Stop thinking that way. You have the reach advantage. I'm looking at him at the eyes, but when he comes in, pop, there goes the shin. And this movement, you train it. You train within tight in the guard zone. When you see flows that are coming out here, and that's one of the things that we bring to your attention to make it tighter in your guard zone. Your guard zone is this imaginary rectangle that you have here where you're covering these areas and your midline, and so you don't want to come out here. If you don't know any better, it looks the same, but it's not. It's not. So economize as well with your strategy. Make your shots. Make your shots. That is my defensive. That was my defense. It was one move, and you knock it down. Wouldn't it be great if I could just knock that down? Those bones are fractured. We're using canes. I'm using a drone here, but we use bone crushers. There's no striking initially to the head if we don't need to do anything like that. Right? Well, what's your follow-up shot? Hopefully I don't need one. It's there if I need it there. Look at this. All this is exposed. Take out that limb again. Just pop, and then get out of there. But notice it's just that. There's no stopping that momentum. Right? That takes up a lot of time. And then lastly, less is more when it comes to your footwork. And AC is known for that circular footwork because everything used to be right linear. That's what everybody knows. I and T patterns. So if I'm over here and he's coming with something overhead, rather than stepping on, you see that. Look at this. We don't have that. It looks like the ACB. This is the ACB logo. It looks like, but we don't have this. Why? Because when ACSD was put together, it was put together with a concern for multiple assailants. It was primarily to deal with knife attacks. But here, I don't want this because look at the exposure here. Oh, and you say, well, this is great, and now I'm going to go ahead and do this. Well, if your footwork, I always say, gets you in and out of trouble. Wouldn't it be great? Look at it here. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to go ahead and move. One thing is to do this. Did you see what he did? So understand the angles. He's not a zombie. He can still attack me from this area. Say, well, I got the better angle. No. Get in. See if you can do something like this to where you're in nice and close, right? So that now you can control the situation. Because if I continue to move out with exaggerated steps and footwork, you're doing so much because you're so jacked up on adrenaline, right? That these smaller steps, you have to train that. You have to put it in your nerve system. Oh, there it comes. Let's see how I can do that. Again, see the checking hand. And I'll do a presentation on checking and checking with the cane and how in the flow, what you look like every time we tap, that's a check. Most caners are not aware of that. But you want to stay in as close as possible as opposed to coming off to the sides. Right? And I can do it either way. Look at the short movements here. So if I see him wind up, getting closer, look at that wind up. If I do happen to see that wind up, because he's not trained either, right? He's coming in just big. And we take advantage of, he already got struck there. And now it's to take out that limb. In one motion, pop, that's it. You're moving in. Your footwork allows you to do that. But if your footwork is not at that level, if you haven't studied the step and drag, ACSD presents it to you in a template so that it's easy. It's a structured way of practicing it. And then you can go ahead and start applying it to these situations. So those are the three ways. Take a look, stop thinking, block, strike. Start economizing your movements. Economize with your less is more when it comes to your footwork in that sense. And the last one I'm going to give you is the most important, and that is learn how to train smart. It's not about training harder. It's about training smarter. And over a period of time, I love your enthusiasm for training. When you start off, it's just like go, go, go. But if you don't have someone taking a look that knows what they're doing and says, hey, you're doing that over and over, that's going to lead to an overuse injury. Oh, yeah, the same movement. It's not doing more. It's not about doing more repetitions. It's about doing the repetitions that you're doing correctly in a structured fashion and then take a break. Smaller sessions, even if you have to do them They're more enjoyable to do, even if you have to do them multiple times in a day or spread out. When you have the blueprint in place, when you have a structure and a set of trained eyes giving you that support, that feedback, the accountability, the correctives that you're going to need, then it only takes a couple of bite-sized sessions. That is the method that's going to allow you to enjoy your practice, your caning practice, and be more effective, more efficient, less injury. You got to train smarter, right? And so you apply that principle of less is more. And how do you do it? I invited you, and I invite you one more time. Go ahead and text those letters CCC to 305-745-7839. And in less than 24 hours, we will be on a phone call with you discussing these very same things, but more importantly, listening to you and where you are now. You have limitations. You don't have an instructor. I have injuries. I have that. How are we going to make it happen? Because at the end of the day, criminals don't care about any of that, right? So we just got to find a way to get it done. And the way you do it is by applying the ACSD principles, circumventing if you need, which means to work around, but you can get it done. I'm Joe Robaina from American Cane Self-Defense. Thanks for watching. Keep caning. Keep flowing. Stay safe.